including that from Niger, neighboring Niger, which arrived earlier. And then also the governors have also arrived alongside all the traditional rulers. Very prominent among those who had arrived is Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, who served as Vice President with President Muhammadu Buhari from 2015 to 2023. Hopefully, any moment now, our cameras will be trained once more on the tarmac where the aircraft should be arriving any moment from now. But the pictures you're seeing are those of the soldiers who had earlier given a salute. We will be bringing you a full and comprehensive coverage. We have been speaking on the life and times of President Muhammadu Buhari, how he was perceived, those who have worked with him, those who knew him personally from his days in the military, those who served with him as a military leader, those who also served with him as a democratically elected leader. It would seem that they had certainly very different experiences of him, and they have been sharing some of them with us. But please do stay tuned here. We'll be bringing you those pictures. Any moment now, we're expecting that aircraft, which will have on board Vice President Kashim Shettima, who was directed. Okay, right. Now we understand that Vice President Kashim Shettima has already arrived. It's a separate aircraft, it would seem.
Well, I imagine so. Because on this particular arrival that we've been watching, is also the former Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. The Vice President Kashim Shettima, we also understand, is landed. But the most the personality that people will mostly be looking forward to is the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Bola Tinubu, who is going to be giving all the compliment of honor by the military, who are on guard not only to pay their final respect to the former general, to the former President, Muhammadu Buhari, but the President, Bola Tinubu, is here also on behalf of the nation to give the last respect and honor the man who led the country before him, his predecessor in office. And I imagine that they might be at the airport until the body arrives. And the late president body comes, we understand, is arriving at the international airport just about now. Perhaps the breaking news we're bringing to you right now, and you will perhaps be seeing the pictures any moment from now. We do understand now that the body of the late president, former president Muhammadu Buhari, has arrived at the Yereduwa International Airport, and on ground is the President Bola Tinubu, alongside his Vice President Kashim Shettima, a former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, and the cabinet, senior members of the cabinet who are on ground to receive, of course, Governor Diko Rada is on the ground alongside a lot of state officials and authorities who are there to receive him. The body will be moved to Daura for burial after receiving military farewell at the airport. It's a military farewell, and all of the military rites and the rituals that goes on when you lose or pay your last respect to a former general, a former leader in this regard.
Indeed, Sean. Well, that certainly will explain the clustering that we're seeing of people on the tarmac. We had said earlier that we're going to be seeing any moment now at the arrival of that plane, but somehow it doesn't appear that we caught that. But we can see clearly that there are more aircrafts on the ground, and we can see a clustering there.
The one you're seeing, which just arrived moments earlier, a moment ago, is the body, the aircraft that conveyed the body, which was accompanied by Vice President Senator Kashim Shettima and the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, and some family members of the late former President Muhammadu Buhari. And the story that we can tell you right here is that aircraft landed at the runway of the Yerodua International Airport at about 1:59 p.m. Governor Diko Rada of Katsina State and members of the State Executive Council, including Deputy Senate President Senator Barao Jibri and other important personalities, were on the ground to receive the call, escorted by Vice President Senator Kashim Shettima, Chief of Staff to the President M.Buhari, and some family members of the late former President. The chief mourner today is President Bola Tinubu.
Still right there for you at the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua Airport, trained on that clustering of people there, which clearly shows that perhaps they're trying to retrieve the body from the aircraft. At any moment now, the military rights, the last military rights, will be given to President Muhammadu Buhari. Any moment now, we should see that ceremony underway. But we have now been informed very reliably that the body has arrived at the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua Airport. What we should be seeing now is that body being retrieved and the state rights commencing any moment now. Shehu, you know, sometimes when you're expecting a thing, you have to be very careful. You know, you're relying on the visuals that you can see from the studio, and also the reports of your correspondent on the ground. We had been saying that we were expecting the body to arrive. Clearly, that is the body right there. Would appear from what we can see here on our screen. Relying on the reports of our correspondent, Vice President Kashim Shettima, as directed, has retrieved the body, and he is on the ground alongside the body of President Muhammadu Buhari.
Yes, indeed. On the arrival, the latest arrival of the aircraft on the tarmac is Senator Kashim Shettima, the lead delegate, on the order of President Bola Tinubu. As soon as the news of the death of the President Muhammadu Buhari was announced, and he's since gone there, and we know that the Chief of Staff to the President, M.Buhari, is a former Speaker of the House, and alongside Governor of Borno State, Professor Babagana Zulum, were on the ground in London, and here we've seen the termination of their presidential directive.
Indeed.
To get the body back home, and that has been done and delivered. Now, as that has been done, that happened right at the dot of 1:59 p.m. local time, right there at the Katsina Airport. And as that has been done, on hand is President Bola Tinubu, alongside very eminent Nigerians, including the former Vice President Yemi Oshibajo, top and senior members of the Federal Cabinet, Governor Diko Rada of Katsina State, and members of the State Executive Council in Katsina, including also very senior politicians from Abuja, Deputy Senate President Senator Barao Jibri, among other important personalities and governors who were on ground to receive the body, which was escorted by the Vice President Kashim Shettima and the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila. And
so
of course, some family members are on the ground too.
Indeed. Well, we could see earlier visuals of a vehicle approaching an aircraft, which is behind this aircraft that was used by President Tinubu. I mean, clearly, cameras will not be allowed to go too close, perhaps for security reasons. And this is President Tinubu's aircraft, who is still a serving president. So clearly, there will be boundaries as to where it is that our cameras can get to. But the pictures that you're seeing shows you a clustering of people.
The sobering fact that no matter how long we stay, we will go. as humans, but what you remain, what you leave behind is what will be a testament of your lifetime. We've been speaking to Dr. Korede, but let me bring in the man who, had his experience as a young man, Dr. Sanusi, with him, and, the legacies of his administration politically.
Harry traveled down to Nigeria. You can see that's the Nigerian Air Force. In the colors of Nigeria, dignitaries waiting on the tarmac, waiting to receive that body and pay their last respects to the late President Yar'Adua, I beg your pardon, late President Muhammadu Buhari. So many presidents we mentioned at the same time, especially since they're at the Muhammadu Yar'Adua Airport, who was also a former president of Nigeria. But dignitaries right there on the tarmac, the visuals that you can see. Any moment from now, the ceremonies will commence, and myself and Shehu will have to be quiet for a moment to let you take in all that is happening at the airport, because it will happen. A lot of the state activities will be happening right there at the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua Airport.
I mean, indeed, a momentous occasion in the life of our nation, the passing of one of Nigeria's longest-serving leader, Muhammadu Buhari, born in his hometown of Daura, Katsina State. And, of course, this man served in the Nigerian military, became a military ruler, and was ousted in the military coup in 1983, 85 rather, yeah. By the then military leader Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, and went on after the return to democracy, tried to be 3 times, he failed, and on the 4th time he won the election after trying 3 times without luck. In 2015, not only that he was lucky, but also that he defeated an incumbent, which is a rare feat in African or Nigerian politics for years. Now, you can see the arrival right there of family members of the Buhari family, who were alighting from the Nigerian Air Force aircraft. This is the one that was taken to bring the body back home. And of course, lots of people, loads of people right there receiving. Interestingly, this airport is named after another son of Katsina, who died in office in 2010. Late Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, who then was afterwards his vice president Goodluck Jonathan took over and went ahead to win an election in 2011. Served, and re-election was when another son of Katsina now defeated him and became president for 8 years. Is the predecessor to the seated President Bola Tinubu of the same political party, a party that we emerged in 2013 in the merger that culminated into final announcement in 2014, ran for election and won the election in 2015, and the same party has now won election 3 consecutive times.
For sure, the late president clearly was a picture, a lesson in resilience, never giving up. The fact that you continue to, highlight that. The fact that he ran 4 times, only clinching office at the 4th attempt, which is many more than a lot of people who would have tried. But clearly, there's only lesson that he's left to us is that he was a real Nigerian in every sense of the word, because if there's anything Nigerians are known for, it is their resilience, isn't it, Mr. Kondi?
And their persistence, and, clearly it's also a very strong lesson in the power of collaboration, and partnership. The only way it was possible in 2015 was to have that handshake across the Niger between Buhari, who had those captive votes in the north, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu, whose party was controlling 6 states in the southwest. And eventually, as we remember, some other new PDP parties, governors also joined. So it's the lesson of collaboration. It just shows that whenever we are united in this country, we can get a lot of things done.
Cameras trained on that Nigerian Air Force jet that has just landed. It landed at 1:59 p.m. local time at the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua Airport, bearing the body of late President Muhammadu Buhari. Any moment now, we should be seeing that body being brought out of the aircraft. But what we are seeing, highlighting from the aircraft, people who traveled on the Nigerian delegation to bring home that body, members of the family, and other Nigerians, other very important dignitaries who are currently coming down the aircraft. We can see right there amongst them. I'm trying my best to look very clearly so Sheun doesn't accuse me, but if my eyes serve me well, I would say that is Oluremi Tinubu welcoming and comforting the widow of the late president. Aisha Buhari seems to be the one in the middle right there. In mourning, in deep mourning, you can see she's covered, perhaps in respect for her husband, and also in the right. She's flanked also by other family members, but right beside her is Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu. You can also see other mourners right behind them, some of them dabbing at their eyes to tell you the solemnity, the solemn occasion of this particular historic moment we're witnessing. We can see other people climbing off that plane, perhaps to go and retrieve the body, and what we can see are Nigeria's military, members of the Nigerian military service.
The body perhaps will be in
the cargo slot.
In the cargo slot.
Yeah.
We don't know.
In the cargo hold of the plane.
We don't know. We don't know what might be, because it's also a presidential jet. There could have been some arrangement, because don't forget that there's a portion of that jet where it's reserved for the president, a cabin inside the plane. They could put it there, as a mark of honor. But hey, it could also be in the cargo. But I don't also assume that it could be in the cargo.
Yeah, well, we see them going into the jet. If we're in the cargo hold, we should be seeing them at the bottom of the jet, where it is that they would bring out the body
just
from.
Just imagining, logistically speaking, whether or not the body will fit in that posture, and how easy is it to carry such from the passenger
exit. Because apparently seeing all those uniform people going in there will suggest
that's the task.
Yeah. Or something there's a space, that the body can fit in the cabin. There's a presidential small suit right there, where it can sit there, But we're going to find out what's happening here.
Yeah. So this is a final presidential flight of President Muhammadu Buhari. A touch base back home where he started his journey of life.
Yeah, and I don't think we've had anything of this experience, even when President Yar'Adua died. I'm not sure that we had this elaborate, show of. So we don't know what to compare it with, because I don't imagine how they're going to go in there and be able to do the military steps with those stairways. It looks rather tight.
Yeah, it looks difficult.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering,
but
the
the
crowd
military always finds a
control,
way.
and yeah, absolutely. Don't forget this. If you look at almost everyone on that tarmac, they are important dignitaries, eminent Nigerians as much as. And this is, I remember covering the burial rites of the former president who died in office, Muhammadu Yar'Adua, in office. He was a chaotic scene, albeit the kind of mood the nation was in. And I could remember the pictures that came out of the presidential villa that year. And you could see the people, the mourners, those family members who were arriving when the word came out that the president had died in office. So this is a bit different, though, because he didn't die in office. And he's way older, and of course, the only difference that we will see, or what is similar, is that there are two sons of Katsina, and they're going to be buried in Katsina. But for a moment, the